Welcome to Friday, TGIF. It's the 10th day of October, 2025. Your Day with the Podcast brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at wyomingadvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, there's a lot happening. Lot going on. We've got this strong storm system coming into the Pacific Northwest that's going to produce some weather for the Pacific Northwest into California, into the northern Rockies, then into the northern plains with cold, rain, snow, and wind. Then we've got this deep subtropical moisture that really moved into Arizona and parts of New Mexico yesterday and Southern California and the deserts of Nevada and Utah. And that's going to expand and bring possible flooding into those areas today from the remains of Tropical Storm Priscilla. That moisture will be effectively around through Sunday in many areas of the West. And there's that Pacific storm we talked about. So there's going to be subtropical moisture in the southern areas, colder North Pacific air in the northern areas, and all of this is going to come through the western half of the USA. And results will vary depending on where you are. If you're mountains and west of the divide, you will get the most wet. If you're along and east of the divide, you'll have the most wind and the bigger change in temperatures and just blustery conditions. The pattern remains active. Mid to late next week and into next weekend, the Pacific will continue to throw out storm systems, and they're taking unusual routes in the western United States and the eastern Pacific to come on through, kind of like what we've seen this past week or so. So it's going to be rather busy. Boy, there's a downpour for you in the Superstition Mountain areas of Arizona as that subtropical moisture comes in. And that will be a similar scene today across many areas of the desert Southwest. As you'll see, flood watches are in effect. Lots of mid and high level cloudiness, moisture streaming into Utah. Nice shot there. That's the shot I showed you earlier. And then a beautiful shot there of Rocky Mountain goat just chilling out in the sun in the Black Hills there of South Dakota. Comet Lemon. Jan Curtis getting a great shot yesterday of Comet Lemon. This is kind of flying on the radar a little bit, but this is going to end up being a very bright comet, especially over the next 10 to 15 days as it gets closer. If you want to get out, get your telescope out, your binoculars. This is going to be bright enough to maybe see with the unaided eye. For you to track the comet and really understand where it is, at what time of the night, where to look, I really recommend this website, theskylive.com. This is a great way. If you go to this link, go to this address, the last digits there, the address is the comet name, C2025A6.info. This will sync you up with your latitude, longitude, and show you where to best to look for Comet Lemon. So I recommend that website to go and take a look because Comet Lemon is going to be worth going out and checking out. The satellite image this morning is showing the convergence of the two storm systems that will be impacting the weather. The one here off the Pacific Northwest coast. Here's what's left of Priscilla. Then here's all the moisture, the plume of moisture going out ahead of it. This plume of moisture will continue to stream northward like this and then get shunted eastward, as you're going to see in a minute, as this system moves across the northern plains and northern Rockies. So we're going to have two different weather features cover the western United States between now and Monday. The water vapor, very impressive, really with both storm systems, but especially the subtropical moisture coming up off of Mexico. When we take a look at the features, well, you look at this big high and you're thinking all this fair weather. Well, not around the edges, because there is Priscilla, there's the remains of an earlier tropical storm, all curving around. Yes, underneath this high pressure, the weather is going to be nice for many of you today, but changing rather rapidly. As that low swings across the Pacific Northwest, moves in on Saturday, and that also is going to draw in that moisture. These are all flood watches. That's a lot of real estate under a flood watch, from the deserts of California all the way up into western and southwest Colorado, eastern Utah, parts of northwest New Mexico. Flood watches tomorrow will probably expand eastward. Then we've got winter storm watches in effect for the mountains of Montana, freeze watches for North Dakota. Look at this. Frost and freeze watches for a large swath of the northeastern United States. So things are getting a little more busy as we get going now towards the middle of October. And as we've been showing you all week, this is where the plume of moisture will be today. Tomorrow you see it kind of get stretched more north-south. Then on Sunday it gets pushed more east, gets fragmented a little bit as we get behind the front, and there's a punch of dry air coming in behind the front. The moisture down here, though, will remain into Sunday in the southern Rockies and parts of the southwestern United States, and that system will head east. So rainfall amounts are going to be very impressive with the northern system, the Pacific Northwest and Montana, into western Wyoming. Eastern Idaho will get wet, into the northern parts of Utah. Western Colorado, southwest Colorado in particular, you continue to be kind of in the bullseye of the heavier precipitation. Some of this rain, it's better late than never. We couldn't get it to rain in this part of the world here for most of the summer until, well, we got to late summer and early fall, and it finally came. And here it's coming again as we take a look at the cumulative precipitation forecast through the weekend. You can see that along and east of the divide for eastern Colorado, eastern Wyoming, into the panhandle of Nebraska, the Dakotas are going to get a little more wet, but this is mainly a west of the divide system, and that Pacific Northwest system mainly affecting the northern Rockies. And there you can see it's going to snow again heavily in the Beartooth, the northern Bighorns, the Yellowstone Plateau, the Bitterroot, then going up into the Canadian Rockies. Wind, we showed you the wind potential yesterday, and it's still there. We're going to have very strong winds in parts of Wyoming's I-25 and Interstate 80 corridors. Keep that in mind. Strong winds continue back into the deserts as that Pacific Northwest system approaches, and very strong winds out across the northern plains through early Monday. Then looking into next week, looks busy. Next week, while we'll probably have a bit of a break Monday and Tuesday into Wednesday, we get back into southwest flow again, and that'll cause a rebound in temperatures. But this Pacific wave that comes in and replaces the one that's there now, that will swing eastward, and there will be more energy coming in on the back side of this system, as you can see in this little red area here. So by the time we get to the middle to the end of next week, this system will swing through, and then we may end up with a more consolidated, more robust area of low pressure swinging through the central Rockies as we get into next weekend. So between the middle to the end of next weekend is the next spurt of colder, wet weather coming on in, and temperatures with this system, as you could surmise, as we get deeper into October, will be colder. So lots going on. Have yourself a fun weekend. We'll see you on Monday.